Boss. Sorry to keep you waiting. We finally finished analyzing that yellow cake Cypher was moving. There was nothing unusual about the composition of the yellow cake itself. Most of it was oxidized uranium, with the rest being impurities, various metals as well as traces of organic matter. What's interesting is the composition of these impurities. When we checked them against the impurities found in the copper ore, it was clear the yellow cake didn't come from Shinkolobwe, meaning they went to the trouble of mining two sources of uranium, then transported them together in different states. Another thing, we detected a very thin layer of highly enriched uranium in the middle of the yellow cake. Now that is very interesting. It may not be a lot, but it points to the existence of uranium-enriching technology. After all, yellow cake can't naturally produce highly enriched uranium. If they could mass produce this, they'd be just one step away from a gun barrel-type nuclear bomb. But uranium enrichment requires advanced technology and a large-scale facility. If that kind of place existed in Zaire, the Soviet Union wouldn't sit idly by. And there's another question. Where were they transporting the yellow cake and malachite uranium? The first place that comes to mind is South Africa. The government was supposed to have abandoned nuclear weapons development after caving to international pressure. But rumors persist that it's continued in secret. Plus, ZRS were escorting the truck, and they're based out of South Africa. And then South Africa does have an abandoned test site. If Cypher's involved with nuclear development in South Africa. But how would that fit with their weapon to surpass Metal Gear? We need more information.
Shinkolobwe. There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
The U.S. bought a lot of uranium from Shinkolobwe mine during World War II for the Manhattan Project. They even sent a squad from the Army Corps of Engineers to reopen the mine after it was flooded. That's how good its uranium must have been. With that, the world's first nuclear test was a success. Shinkolobwe uranium might have been used in the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs too. Just hearing its name is like seeing all the phantoms of the war rise up to haunt us. But all the uranium's dried up, and the mine's been closed for years.
So someone reopened it.
Right. Zero Risk Security seized control of the area and were forcing locals to work in it. And the Zairean government was getting a slice of what they took in exchange for looking the other way. Mobutu has to finance his tastes somehow. He'll gladly sell the rights to some old mine. The question is, why would Zero Risk Security do this kind of thing?
Or rather, why were their employers, Cypher, interested in an abandoned mine? Maybe getting trace amounts of uranium, yet to the naked eye it appears to be ordinary malachite, meaning security would be lax. Not a very efficient way of obtaining it, but easier to move.
But how would they enrich it at its destination?
Did the yellow cake really have a layer of highly enriched uranium in it?
Having trouble believing it?
No. If they say it's real, then it's real. In which case, they might have some enrichment method that we don't know about.
And this was to test it out?
It's possible. And that would mean it's almost complete.
Rogue Coyote operates mainly out of Africa these days. Of the three PFs, they're the smallest. However, they scooped up most of the Rhodesian SAS after the country collapsed 4 years ago. Picture their entire organization as one big special forces unit. With Rhodesia a British colony, the Rhodesian SAS had its origins in 22 SAS Sea Squadron. They started out as a group known as the Southern Rhodesia Volunteers. But in '51 they were incorporated into 22 SAS as members of the British Commonwealth and deployed to fight guerrillas in the Malayan Emergency. Even now, 22 SAS keeps the Sea Squadron designation empty in recognition of their service. In a way, you could say the SAS almost makes up the core of Rogue Coyote. Later on, they were bolstered by other talent, including former Celis Scouts and 32 Battalion. These guys are direct descendants of the best special forces in the world. They won't go down without a fight. Don't get careless. Kunganga Mine. A civil war's been going on in that region for the last 20 years. It's being fought by what are now two ethnic groups, the Buta and the Mbele. Originally, you could barely tell them apart, but the reason for the current armed conflict goes back to World War I. After the war, their land was colonized by a European power, and it decided to give local control to the Buta. That split the two groups into rulers and subjects, laying the foundations for an inevitable civil war. The friction between them remained even after they won independence from Europe. The Buta are holding on to power to this day, and the Mbele rebels continue to fight back. The conflict is funded by locally mined gold, rare metals, diamonds. They've used the money from those to arm themselves, buy oil, and even hire PFs. The Buta administration owns the mining rights to Kungenga mine. But most of the laborers are Mbele, who they've taken prisoner. The product they've gouged out of their land is bought up by cheap Western corporations. And this civil war is fueled by the profits. That's how it goes. One country's people is split apart by another country. Then the two groups tear up their own land for money in order to fight each other. Now this civil war started by a foreign power is the norm, and it's sucking up all the country's resources. PFs are just the same. They follow the money, taking war with them wherever they go. That goes for us too. It's an endless river of bloody retaliation, and we're standing downstream. Should we make a stand and staunch the flow? Or wade in amongst the corpses and make a bigger splash than the rest? We'll follow your lead, boss.
Please select a mission.
There are 6 targets. They're soldiers. The contract is to kill them all. They used to be with a platoon of Mbele rebels, but then the Buta authorities captured them. There are 2 locations, the Bumpevi plantation and the Kungenga mine. The client is none other than the general they served under. He wants them dead to keep them from talking. A commander murdering his former men. That's what this boils down to.
Mission accepted. Heading to Central Africa. Deploying.
There are 6 targets. Our contract is to kill them all. And the client is the general they served under. He wants them dead to keep them from talking. Check a VI on your iDroid for more information. The targets are 6 former members of an Mbele rebel platoon. That's one of them. He was the platoon leader. Then he turned his back on the others and joined up with the local PF. Now he's part of the security detail at the Bumpevi plantation. He's not so different from the general. They get plenty worked up for rebellion and revenge, but don't give a damn about their own men. 5 of the 6 targets are at the Kungenga mine.
Be careful!
Police tell us they're being put to work in a mine when it's not their turn to face interrogation. We don't have VI on these 5. All we know is where they're being held. The rest is up to you. That's Bumpevi plantation. The targets are mixed in with the soldiers in that base. Use the VI to identify them.
Clouds approaching.
A place with that kind of visibility will test your powers of observation. You should mark as many enemies as you can to help reduce the chances of being seen. That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from its machine gun can cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. Why not interrogate the enemy? We might learn where the target is.
Ik wil niet, prik niet. On the ground. Spit it out.
The map has been updated.
So, wanneer het hulle die grens hier vastgestel in elk geval?
Wat bedoel jy?
Laas week het ons van die pad afgerei en is ons skielik aan die verkeerde kant van die grens.
Wag jy, hulle checkpunte moet opsit in Northern Half.
Maar dis nie asof daar enige riviere of berge is wat mense kan gebruik om te navigeer. Ons het nie eens geweet dat ons die grens gekruis het.
Wel, dis net 'n streep op 'n kaart. Dis al.
Enemy
Van terug
presence
100 jaar,
detected. The
1884.
map has been
Die eerste dan
updated.
kom die land verdeel as hulle kolonies. Die grenslyne so. Ek weet actually waar hulle die finale besluit geneem het. Op 'n konferensie in Berlyn.
Please
Daar was 'n paar
select a
riviere.
deployment point.
Berggrens. meeste is die basic streep met hulle in die hand.
Lukt glad nie eens die plaaslike bevolking se gedagte gehad nie, né?
Right. Die grenslyn het gebly. Selfs al hierdie name van die man. Flip it. Ek moet baie.
Lekker. Chill.
One of the targets should be at the Bump Heavy plantation. He made a career change to the local PF and is working as a guard there.
They're mercenaries belonging to Rogue Coyote. Not so much a corporation as a mixed bag of hired guns working together under a single banner. They cut their teeth in the British and Rhodesian SAS, the Sea-Loo Scouts, 32 Battalion. So they've seen plenty of action. Don't take any chances with them.
Fire!
Analysis complete.
So you've spotted the target.
Spit it out.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Where are the others? Speak.
The map has been updated.
What are you planning on doing, boss? Putting the target to sleep doesn't count as eliminating them. Neither does knocking them out. Extracting the target. Our contract was to kill the target, but I'll go with your decision. 5 targets remaining.
Info has
Head
been
for the
updated.
Kugenga mine.
Marker placed. Please select a drop point. Dispatch requested. Buddy has arrived. The map has been updated.
Boss, get down. The enemy sniper. Stay low and crawl along the ground. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
Talk.
The targets are at the Kugenga mine. Our contract is to kill them. You've reached the mine. 5 targets are being held captive at that outpost. The VI on your iDroid will show you where they are.
Please select a deployment point. Dispatch requested.
This is B-Quad. Approaching position.
Analysis complete.
Prioritizing elimination of enemy threats.
Enemy patrol chopper. We keep a tight watch in the air, too. Boss, be careful when you call in the chopper. Don't alert in that thing's sights.
Please select a deployment
Target acquired.
point.
In hot.